Objective 18. Describe the mutualistic, symbiotic relationships that exist between fungi, bacteria, and plants, and explain why these are significant. First, you have Haustoria. This is found in your parasitic plants, and these parasitic plants will attach themselves to the host plant, and they have these root-like projections that actually grow into the host plant and contact the vascular tissue of the host plant, and they get their water and nutrients from that host plant vascular tissue. Now, mycorrhiza is a mutualistic relationship between roots and fungi, and this helps with water and mineral extraction. And then there are root nodules that you find on peas and beans and legumes, and those nodules contain bacteria that are nitrogen fixing, meaning they can take the nitrogen out of the atmosphere, that is a gas, and convert it into a usable form for living organisms. And if it's on the roots of the peas, beans, and legumes, it converts it to a form that the peas, beans, and legumes can use, and that's how they get their nitrogen. This is showing you some root diversity. You see up there the tap root with the carrot and the fibrous root across from it in the grasses. That's the prop roots of the corn there that you see on the left in the middle. You can see the parasitic roots that are growing into the tree there at the bottom. So, and you've got the adventitious roots in the middle on the right that help support that plant. Now to look at stems for a little bit, how they're organized. Talk first about the shoot apical meristem. This is where new cells are made, and those new cells elongate and they make the stem longer. And there's a terminal bud on the end of them, and it's enveloped by these immature leaves called leaf primordia. Look at this woody twig. You can see the nodes where the buds come out, and then the area between the two nodes, that's an internode. Look at the terminal bud protected by the leaf primordia. Leaf scars where the branches came off. And you see the little axillary buds coming out at the node there. This is just showing you 1 year's growth. There are two main types of stems we want to talk about. The first is the herbaceous stems. These are going to be green. They're non-woody mature stems that have only primary growth, and the epidermis has a waxy cuticle on it to protect it from water loss. The stems have these vascular bundles of xylem and phloem in them, and in herbaceous eudicots they're arranged in a ring. In monocots they're scattered all throughout the stem, which you see here. This is a sunflower, which is a herbaceous eudicot, and you can see how in the eudicots it's going to be arranged in a ring. You see the ring up at the top that goes around here? Okay. And then if you look here at the monocot stem, you see how the vascular bundles are scattered all over everywhere within that stem. And this would be like you find in bamboo or corn. Now the woody stems are the other types we want to mention. They have primary and secondary tissues. Think of an oak tree. The primary tissues formed each year from the primary meristems, and the secondary tissues develop during the first and each subsequent year from the lateral meristems, and they form the vascular cambium and cork cambium. Woody stems have both primary and secondary growth. The primary growth increases the length of the stem and the roots, and the secondary growth increases the girth, the width of the tree. Woody stems don't have vascular tissue. Instead, they have bark, which is the cork and cork cambium, and the phloem. They have wood, and then the pith is the center. Now the bark, as I said, has the cork and the cork cambium and the phloem. The cork and the cork cambium are called periderm. The bark can be removed, but when you remove the bark, you're removing the phloem. And so nutrients can't flow down from the leaves, down the stem to the roots. So if you cut all the bark off in a circle around the tree, then everything below that area where you cut is not going to get any nutrients. The cork cells have suberin in them. It helps to waterproof them and helps them to die. And the only place there can be any gas exchange is in the lenticels that I showed you earlier, where they don't have any of that suberin to keep it from happening, the waterproofing from happening. Wood itself is secondary xylem, and it builds up year after year and makes larger girth. In the winter, vascular cambium is dormant, and so you have an annual ring. It's got spring wood when you've got a lot of water, and summer wood where you don't have much water. In older trees, the inner annual rings are called heartwood. They don't function at all in water transport because they're plugged up with resins and gums. But that's good because it inhibits bacterial growth and fungal growth. And you can see there the rings.